I am Jason, and this is the Anthem of Impact Wrestling Show. What's up, everybody? This is the Anthem of Impact Wrestling Show. Today we're going to go over last night's episode of Impact Wrestling. First of all, I just want to give a kind of quick overview. I think the show overall was pretty good. Of course, no show's perfect, and that's the one bad thing. Like, as much as I love how much effort and surprise and shock value that Impact, no matter who the owner was, has really put into their live show, but whenever you only do a live show once every couple months, you can tell that they're not used to it. They're not used to being right on time, or not having glitches, and you see that. Karen Jarrett, stumbling on some words, that would have been fixed. They would have edited something around that. I don't know if this was on purpose or not, because this is kind of the first time since James has really come out to his new video package, like his intro video that's up on the video board. But I highly doubt it's supposed to be this big, right? Like, highly doubt that. So, like, the transitioning from them showing the backstage interview and the prepackaged promo to his entrance, obviously, I think there's a glitch somewhere in the video board. So, there's just little things like that, and like JB saying, we want to know who the fifth man is. Well, you mean sixth? I mean, he can kind of, excuse that, meaning he meant the fifth challenger, right? Maybe. But, there's glitches here and there, but people mess up all the time. It was live TV. I don't hold that against them too much, but it whenever I see that, I don't sit there as a fan and go, oh, man, they suck. They just messed that up. My first thought as an Impact Wrestling fan is going, oh, no. Everybody that already hates Impact is just going to be like, see, that's why they suck. They can't even do this right. They can't do that right. In fact, like, the whole thing that's going around about, like, whenever Alberto El Patron debuted, right? The video board initially, which is why it had to be edited and cut, supposedly said Alberto Del Patron, which obviously doesn't make any sense. But, again, I was watching a podcast on Fightful with Sean Ross Sapp and Shane Helms, and he even mentioned, he's like, look, these guys, I wish I could tell you guys that people that run the video boards, people that might run music and production know about wrestling, but they don't. So, sometimes it gets messed up. They misread it, they spelt it wrong, or at the same time, they might have been, who knows what was written down there. They just might have been thinking in their head, Alberto Del Rio, and Alberto Del Patron, and never fixed the Del part. You don't know. But people that already like to crap all over Impact Wrestling see those little things, and that's my reaction. It's because I want nothing but great things for this company. I'm such a huge fan. I have been for so long. That sucks knowing that somebody else is sitting there going, caught them. They suck still because they messed up. Haha. Okay. How was the wrestling? How were the storylines? But anyway, let's get to the show. We start off with the amazing opening package. I am so glad Kevin Sullivan is back for production. It's production value, graphics, just the way that they cut scenes and make videos and do the pre-tape vignettes and promos and stuff. It's amazing. Like, that got me, it gave me goosebumps, man. Like, reliving, obviously, James Storm's first title win was awesome. That was so good. But then, like, they went back and forth and did the whole, like, sitting in the chair promos and going back and forth, and it felt like a big fight, big pay-per-view, kind of like how they set up maybe like a UFC fight or a boxing match, and, they both kind of gave their little talks and did all that stuff, and man, that just was so good. It made you feel like this was going to be a big night, and this match was going to be big. And then we start off with, hey, guess what? It's LAX time. And that was great. It's cool to see Joe Coleman. I watched a little bit of stuff whenever he was at OVW. I'm not sure if he's still there or not. I really haven't kept up with OVW since they stopped being Impact's kind of like developmental territory. I always thought he was pretty good. I was kind of waiting for him to ever be called up. I don't know if he was ever like there because of Impact, but obviously they had the working relationship at that time. So I was always kind of like, man, this guy could be good. He could be something. He could be a good character or something like that. So maybe they keep him on. I don't know. Obviously I like the use of the way Impact uses jobbers, more than what like WWE's been doing, because it's just they pick up some of these just worthless looking pieces of crap to pop on. And no offense to a lot of those guys, I'm just saying, like, whether they make you look like that or they try to just find like James Ellsworth. Not trying to question his ability, because supposedly he even has a wrestling school, so whatever. Okay, great. But just his look is awful. So I'm sorry that I'm not impressed and not having fun watching even a Braun Strowman, who should be murdering everybody, murder a James Ellsworth. I don't care. Like, it's not interesting to me. Instead, Impact, they bring in, these just kind of random guys, and they actually talk them up. They tell who they are. They tell you where you can find them at sometimes. And it's just kind of been fun. Again, LAX, there was a couple mishaps there. You can tell that the guys probably have not wrestled together with Joe Coleman and Jake Holmes, I think was his other name. Was that it? Can't remember now. Probably because also Pope couldn't remember his name. That did not help. He kept calling Jake somebody, something, I don't know, whatever he is. That was funny. But no, it's just that match was fun though, and their finisher, the street cleaner, or street sweeper, or whatever it's called, and that's pretty cool. I like that. It's a good match, and of course, Conan gets on the mic and just, it's definitely TV 14, and I like it. Obviously, I like it. I'm 31 years old, almost 32 years old. Of course, I like it. It's, hey, we can cuss. Oh my God, we can say some somewhat inappropriate things. Great, that's what wrestling is, or it can be. It can be the alternative to the PG. I just wish the only thing I wish we could see more of out of LAX is Homicide. Whether he can get on the mic and speak, because he can. At least in that group setting, like if Conan would hand off the mic to Homicide and Homicide said some random shit too. I wish we could see more of that. And obviously, you want to see him wrestle. I don't care if it's for the X Division. I don't care if it's for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I don't care if it's for the Grand Championship. I really do not care. He just needs to be in some matches. I've always been a fan of Homicide. So hopefully that does happen. Excuse me. Let me get a drink here. Sorry. Long day at work today. I'm recording this today on Friday. And just long day at work. I've been at work since 4:30 in the morning, and it's 3:40 right now Central Time. So this is a long day, not a lot of talking. But anyway, back to the wrestling. Then we had, I believe it was it was that little X Division segment, the talking segment. Karen Jarrett came out, announced that it's officially been merged. I'm guessing, since they kind of hinted at that a couple other times later on in the show about GFW guys and girls, I'm guessing that could be what this set of tapings storylines will be about that merger. And I'm guessing maybe even that's what Slammiversary is going to be a culmination of. Should be interesting, should be fun, because GFW, even though they had a lot of guys that weren't known, they had a lot of people that were very interesting. I mean, it's unfortunate the Bollywood boys are in the WWE, because I think they were used better in GFW, and I think if they were to come to Impact, because if they were still part of GFW, that I think they'd be a lot of fun to see an Impact with all those tag teams, instead of doing whatever it is they're doing. I don't know if they're part of 205 Live or Tag Division. I guess we'll see, because they just showed up on SmackDown for Jinder Mahal, but that's for another show. So then, of course, we see the return of Sanjay Dutt. which is awesome. And he's back as, from what I've read, it seems like more of like an agent. But I'm sure they'll show him on TV. Might as well. He's a nostalgic act for Impact, and he can still go, and he looked great. It's unfortunate he had his injury, and obviously kind of sidelined probably a lot of what he was going to do in that match. But I think he's perfect to have come in and maybe try to get some of these other guys over. Especially to a lot of the fans that were Impact Wrestling fans during those days where Sanjay was big, and they've stopped watching because they don't think there's anybody worth watching. Well, now if they hear guys like Sanjay and who we found out later in the night, Low-Ki is back, people might start going, oh, and then they make them look good. These other new young guys, now they're fans of them. So hopefully, I think that's what they're there for. I don't think Sanjay's going to be there to be a big time, X Division champion or anything like that. But I hope he does. I mean, he deserves to have that one title reign, even if it's like for like one night or 1 week. He just kind of deserves to be able to say, I was an X Division champion. Don West used to call him the greatest X Division non-champion, to never win it. And I'm right there with him. I totally think that Sanjay Dutt should have won it at some point, I think it would have made his heel turn a lot better against Jay Lethal if he would have stolen that title, and say that he won the X Division and have Jay chase it back. But that's neither here nor there. This is 2017. And hopefully he can just kind of get like that lifetime achievement world title reign. So then, of course, a bunch of arguing. Trevor Lee, Andrew Everett come out, and then, of course, Lisa Bruce Pritchard, and he says, let's get crazy. We're going to do the main event, except we're not going to make it a 3-way. We're going to make it a 6-way. 6-way. There we are. 6-way. I guess that's crazy. 6 ways are crazy, at least in the Pritchard household. When we started saying crazy and they were saying 6, I started thinking, ooh, Ultimate X? Please, Ultimate X. Please, I love that match. It's always fun. But they didn't. They just kept it 6-way, and that's fine. Of course, they were kind of like teasing who the other 3 will be, and of course, pretty quickly they made Name a Suicide, and then they talked about a newcomer, Desmond Xavier. Who just totally impressed. I would have liked to see maybe him pull out maybe a couple more high spots just to kind of showcase what he could really do. But he did some pretty awesome stuff in there. It was really good, really fast. So I'm excited to see what he can do going forward. And then we found out after a commercial break. So I started on almost thinking, well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that point whenever it does. I'll give my opinion on that part whenever we get to it. So then we go off. Then I believe we go straight into the Knockouts match. Yeah, we go into the Knockouts. Sorry, kind of got some notes over here just to make sure I'm staying on track. Sometimes my mind just starts going, and I need a little bit of bullet points. But yeah, we go to the Knocked Up Women's Championship match between Rosemary and ODB. Great match. It was just fun. It was just a good women's wrestling match. They didn't have to go too crazy, and Rosemary and ODB both are the type of women wrestlers that are really good about not making things seem awkward. Wrestlers of both genders do it. It just sometimes seems like the women wrestlers do it a little more. To where, like, you're watching, you're like, ooh, that was a miss, or ooh, that was kind of awkward, but ODB and Rosemary are both those type of women wrestlers that are just that good that they really don't hit those moments, at least not very often. And those two together came together really well. They could be real aggressive with each other because I don't think either one breaks too easy. I love Rosemary, her character, her get up, her everything, her promos. They're just so good. And ODB, man, she's just fun. She makes every match just fun. You can get into it. You can get, buy in and just have a good time watching it. And in fact, I sent out a tweet saying, this is the real women's revolution. And it's so true because Impact never has felt the need to sit there and go, this is history. Oh, look what our women. No, they just go, hey, we treat them just the same as we do the men because we just let them go out and wrestle. They go out and they put on a show. We don't sit here and talk about history. We don't sit here and talk about, oh my God, look what they've done. No, they have a match. It's in the middle of the show. It's a title match. They're gonna bust their ass, and that's what's gonna. We're gonna let you, the fans, sit there and go, wow, that was amazing. Wow, that was really historical. I think I just saw something historical, and that's great. That's we don't need it drawn down our or thrown down our throats about how historical moments certain things are with the women. But anyway, yeah, that was a good match. Then of course they go back to the back, and Mackenzie is still trying to figure out who they are. And I know I already mentioned that they announced Suicide and Desmond Xavier, so I won't talk about that. But at this point, the real interesting point was Sienna mentioned, where is your GFW champion, women's champion? And Karen's like, oh, she's here. Now, last time I remember, it was Christina Von Eerie, I think is her name, something like that. I can't think of what her exact name is. I hope I'm not butchering that, but I know she's very talented, really good. So if that's who it still is, or that's who they're gonna bring in and portray as like this was our champion, because I don't know how their contracts work with Global Force and how they're bringing them in or how they're gonna do that. Are they staying pretty true to real life in that situation, or are they going to just throw it on somebody else that they've signed into Impact and be like, oh, this was our champion, because nobody knows because we're never on TV anyway, type thing. So it'd be interesting. I hope it is. I think Sienna and her will have one hell of a match. And then, of course, that also brings up, okay, now what championships are staying, going? How, are they going to merge? Are we now going to have a GFW show and an Impact show, and now maybe they'll intertwine some, but pretty much there's two brands now, and then you're going to see cross-promotion depending the show and anything else. I don't know. It could go many different ways. I think it's a very interesting time, very exciting time right now in Impact Wrestling, with that announcement of them now bringing that into story universe of Impact Wrestling. So that should be fun and interesting to see where this all really goes. Then I believe we get to the World Heavyweight Championship match. Yeah, between James Storm and Bobby Lashley. Man, I was so pumped for this. So pumped for this match. And then I saw Josh Matthews come out. And my first thought was, oh, is he going to be like Lashley's manager? I hope so. Because I didn't want to see Josh off TV. I just was tired of him at the announce table. And for two reasons. And I think I said this on my last video was, it's not his fault, but his accent just sounds kind of odd sometimes. And he's almost too Michael Cole-ish, but like the bad Michael Cole-ish type stuff that he does. And then two, he's not just going to show back up at the announce table a week later, and there's not going to be arguing between him and JB. And I was really enjoying JB and Pope together. I think they were actually sounding really good together as just two voices, two guys there. So whenever he came out, I'm like, oh, great. I think he's going to be perfect as Lashley's manager. That'd be great. And they almost kind of alluded to it like he was, but he was going to sit at the announce table for this match. And then he stuck around. And it made it sound more like, no, he was there, period. Like he's back at the announce table. Pulling a heelish move of, what? No, I never said, I mean, I left for a while, but I'm back, yeah. Type thing. Just tired of the bickering, the arguing. I understand that a lot of people have done it. They just have not perfected it yet. They really haven't. So we'll see where it goes from here. I mean, I'm still interested to see, okay, so I guess they're continuing it, so how are they going to officially end it? I don't know. And if it leads to them bringing back Mike Tenay or bringing in now a possible Mario Ronaldo, I guess it's not going to be JR anymore since he signed a deal with WWE. Maybe a Joey Styles, something, I don't know. But maybe it leads to something like that. And if it does, great. If the ending is good, I will be fine with this whole story. It just has to end, or it just has to end right for me to really take it all in and be like, yep, okay, that was fine. But the worst part about them bringing out Josh during this match was the crowd kept being distracted by wanting to yell crap at Josh. And it was a disservice to Bobby Lashley and one of Impact Wrestling's best all-around talents of all time, James Storm. They deserved better than that. And I understand the match wasn't like a... They knew where they were going with it, and so I understand in their minds whenever they're thinking of the whole plan that they don't need to make it seem like a legit full-blown wrestling match because they knew where they were going with it by the end of the match. But us as fans don't, and that ruins our experience with the match. Because legit, I started thinking, man, we're gonna have James Storm win this title. They're really upping him. I mean, they haven't even talked to Lashley yet. They just had this great fiery promo with James and everything else, and flashback to his one title reign. And then EC3 comes down, and I knew right there, I'm like, this match is not ending right. We're gonna see some shenanigans. That's exactly what we're gonna see, and we did. The only thing that I really enjoy out of this is the possibility, because they did, they showed a promo from Alberto El Patron, Magnus, obviously EC3 came out, then of course you had the two people in the ring, and James Storm and Bobby Lashley. That's 5 people, everybody. What match was with Slammiversary every year that had 5 people in it? The King of the Mountain match. And I am stoked that's that possible. I'm hoping that these 5 guys end up being in the King of the Mountain match at Slammiversary on July 2nd for that World Heavyweight title, because that's going to be 1, unpredictable, 2, a lot of fun, and 3, you're going to see like these dream match things happen all inside that. And man, that'd be so good to have a Slammiversary, have that as your main event. Yeah, that'd be fun. That's gonna be fun. I really do. I hope that could be right there heading into that. So that's kind of my take on all this. This is why they did it the way they did it. Because now James has a gripe, says he was screwed, right? Rightfully so. EC3's been saying he's been getting overlooked. So there you go. Alberto El Patron got screwed, right? He won his match, but not really, so because he gave it back, so they wiped that title reign clean off the record books. So now he's mad. Magnus is the GFW heavyweight champion. He's coming into Impact now. They're merging. He wants a shot as well. He feels, I'm this champion, I want that championship, right? Then you got Lashley, who is the champion. That's 5 great stories that you can just have intertwined and going and slow burning for the next couple months to get us to July 2nd at Slammiversary and a King of the Mountain match. It's perfect. And I really hope that's where they're going, because that is perfect storytelling and that is amazing, fun stuff that we have waiting for us every Thursday night leading to that. So then, after the World Heavyweight title match, trying to remember correctly. Yeah, we go straight into that. The other thing about the EC3's heel turn, okay, which has been a slow burning since that first new episode under the new regime, right? Been talking about it. He's been stepping around the new logo. He has different little emotional facial expressions, whatever. I can't think of the word right now, sorry. whenever people are talking to him and how he's, interacting with people. These little things that certain people are picking up on, but not everybody would if you're not really looking for it, right? So now he turns heel. What's the first thing he does whenever he walks up that ramp? He stomps on that new logo and puts up his EC3 deal, sign, stands there, smiles, and walks off. Heel turn complete. I love it. Love it. That's what makes Ethan so good. Is just the little things. He cares so much. He does little minor details, hoping somebody's caught it and somebody will get it. So anyway, so then we go to we get ready to start talking about the X Division Championship match. And man, did they actually start to have me worried. I was thinking like so many different people, right? So first I saw a report that they were interested in like Matt Sydal, Lio Rush, a couple of other people. But Lio Rush and Matt Sydal kind of came up in my mind because, man, they really started playing up who the sixth guy was, right? And I'm like, okay, well, it's got to be somebody because they keep saying how this is a historical night. This is one of the biggest nights in Impact Wrestling history and blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, this has got to be somebody big. It has to be, right? Can't just be like somebody, kind of coming out. Can't just be, obviously DJ Z wasn't going to, but it couldn't just be DJ Z or, somebody of that caliber, right? Couldn't just be Shane Helms popping back in. And then I was like, oh yeah, you know what? The one guy. So at first I was thinking either Sydal or Lio Rush, right? Then they really started playing up, and then they went to commercial. I'm like, okay, so they're saving like this big moment to reveal who that guy is. And I know this was wishful thinking. I did not really think this was going to happen, but in my head, all of a sudden I was like, Rey Mysterio? It's going to be Rey Mysterio? Because, Rey, who still works for the Crash, still works for Lucha Underground. Well, at least is still under contract because that season's not over with yet, I believe. So I think he's still somehow their contracts are really weird. But the owner, president, CEO, or whatever of AAA that also does Lucha Underground said that even though they won't be able to be who their Lucha Underground characters are, those wrestlers can appear on Impact. So I'm like, maybe like just wild hair, but what if it's Rey? Because that would be so amazing to see him in an X Division match. I know he's bigger than that title, but he's not whenever it comes to how the X Division was at one time. Whenever Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, all fighting for it, right? Because they were all guys that could go up to the World Heavyweight Championship. Joe and Styles did, and come back and still win an X Division title too. So it's like, man, what if it's Rey? That'd be really cool if it's Rey Mysterio. Didn't think it was gonna happen. It was kind of like the commercial pause is what like really kind of triggered that thought. But then I was also really, really worried because who they keep mentioning and who are they keep showing right there in the crowd? Swoggle. Hornswoggle. I was like, oh god, I swear to God, if they throw Hornswoggle in this match, sorry Impact, but I can't defend that. I can't. I'm not gonna even try to defend that. If people want to shit on that, having Swoggle show up in your X Division title match, I'll let them shit on that. So, luckily it wasn't. It was Low Ki. They're returning Low Ki. Hell yes, I love Low Ki. I think he's always been tremendous. One of the pioneers of the X Division, and just an amazing wrestler. Him coming out in that Hitman video game or movie persona gimmick, pretty cool because he looks like him. I don't know how the hell he wrestles in that suit, even with the suit jacket on and tie. I don't know how he does it. And I don't know what that fabric, what that's actually made out of, but man, it's insane. But getting into the match itself, really good, fun match. They let him get a lot in. Man, that Sanjay Dutt, man, that eye thing was so gross. I'm really hoping it wasn't too bad. But the first thing I thought of was Austin Aries whenever he broke his orbital bone or whatever that was, that he was out for a while. Um, I hate to say this, fortunately, because it's not, there's nothing fortunate about it. But fortunately, I don't think Sanjay was going to be like an everyday player. Um, so him missing TV time now, if he does, it's not going to hurt the division. It's not going to hurt, I think, storylines too much. Excuse me, sorry about that. Um, so it's not that big of a deal. It sucks because like his first night back, and he could have put on a really good match and really helped get a lot of guys over, and and he couldn't. It really sucked. It kind of put a damper on the match. But Desmond Xavier pulled out some amazing moves. I cannot wait to see more of him. Andrew Everett's always good. And then you got Trevor Lee. Ooh, Andrew Everett with those like reverse Frankensteiner flip things or whatever. Oh my gosh. The one he did to Desmond Xavier was awesome. Because obviously Desmond's super athletic and can just do it. And I don't know what it is, but whenever he does it to Trevor Lee, and you would think, because these guys are like really good friends, been wrestling each other for a while, you would think like they had that really timed down. And I don't know if Trevor's selling it like this on purpose or not, but man, I'm always afraid he's gonna like break his neck. Oh, because he never fully comes around. It's just like, and then falls. It's like, oh god. Do not kill yourself, man. Jeez. But of course, then Low Ki won the X Division Championship. I did not see that coming. I did not think Low Ki was necessarily going to win it. It makes sense that they build that 6-man up so high. I was thinking it was probably still going to be one of those kind of swerve things where it's like, you thought it was going to be Trevor Lee versus Andrew Everett. Now we made it a 6-man, but guess what? No, Andrew's still going to win it. In fact, Andrew's not just going to beat Trevor Lee. He's going to beat 5 other guys to really build him up. That's who I kind of thought it was going to go to. But it doesn't surprise me too much. I just didn't see it coming as far as Low Ki winning it, which I'm fine with. Again, sometimes I read maybe a little too much into it, but I don't see it as like, oh, they're just getting old guys back and they're throwing Tyler. No, I think there's reason for it. One, to bring back those old school fans from, 05, 06, 07 that basically left once like Hogan came in, and you had the Main Event Mafia, and you had Hogan, and you had, I know Main Event Mafia was before, I'm just saying like that period of time, you had Mick Foley come in, you had all the ECW guys, you had Hogan, and they kind of stopped being TNA, and they kind of became like WWE Light. They became Impact Wrestling. Because that was like the first time where Bischoff and Hogan tried to rebrand the name, but didn't really do it very well at all. So having him win this, I think, is more of a storyline. Again, we're going to our 15th, they're going to their 15th anniversary show to bring a lot of people back. And I think it's to get to that anniversary show. You have a bunch of old-time guys, got a bunch of new-time guys, and I think you're going to see a bunch of people fighting for those different titles, whether it's GFW or Impact. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, good storytelling. Obviously, great matches, because it's not like Sanjay Dutt or Low Ki are bad in the ring. They're great. They're very good and very fun to watch. So we'll have to see. It's going to be very interesting, I think. I'm intrigued. Overall, I would give this show a good B+. Maybe an A-, but I don't think any show is like that. It's like an A, unless it's just some really big things happen. And nothing really big happened outside of like Low Ki winning the championship and coming back. You had Sanjay Dutt come back. But overall, it's just a really good put-together show. Some things they could obviously work on. Some things I wish that they would push different things. Not having Eli Drake on the show, I think, sucks. But he might have been doing something else. They still have a lot of different people like Bram and Robbie Ear over and Pro Wrestling Noah in their tag team league tournament thing. Moose was just down in Mexico. There might be some other people down at Crash or at AAA. Who knows? Maybe Eli Drake's heading over to World of Sport. I don't know. To do a couple shows. I don't know. So hopefully we'll see him here in the next couple weeks. And same thing with some other people. But yeah, it should be fun. Very interested to see where the rest of this goes. Especially can't wait to see how this all ends up at Slammiversary. Should be fun. Yeah, so thank you guys for tuning in today. Again, I apologize for this right here. A lot of coughing or taking drinks, whatever else. Like I said, it's been a long day. But anyway, I hope you guys liked the show. Again, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Check me out on Twitter at Anthem of Impact or at Chef Jason 98. That's my personal Twitter account. Anthem of Impact's the Twitter account for this show. That's where I try to talk most wrestling, but sometimes don't quite get there. Also, I want to end this episode real quick. We're giving a quick shout out to BQ of the King of the Mountain podcast. He just moved up to this area, but the Illinois side of things, and he's been not been able to do his podcast for many different reasons. Just want to let him know that I know myself, and I'm sure a lot of other people on the Impact Wrestling YouTube and Twitter nation have our thoughts and prayers with him with everything that he's gone through for the last months. Hope everything continues to be good. Can't wait to start seeing your show or hear your show again. And until then, I'll be pulling it down. I know people over there at Heelcast be keeping it real and holding down the fort for Impact Wrestling content. Same thing with obviously Andre Corbeil and others. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out on that. So until next time, everybody. Peace.